Hi again, guys, for like the third time today. I've been wanting to do like a book video, my favorite books, and I've collected the most I can because some of these are actually in my car and it's raining outside and I don't feel like going out there right now, so I'll just throw the titles out there for you. But I'll start with the ones I do have. There's this book called Chicks Kick Butt, and I got it like a summer ago, I think. Two summers ago. It was just a standard bookstore. It was probably like Books A Million or Borders or something. I bought it when I was out on vacation with my family and I was just looking for something to read. And basically what it is, it's a collection of kick-ass chick stories. Like there's girls in here. It's all like paranormal type things. Like some of these stories involve vampires, like gargoyles, goblins, fairies, ghosts, things like that. There's humans in the stories as well, but it's pretty awesome if you're into chicks that kick butt. And I'll go ahead and read the back for you guys. It says, "Today's women don't stand around waiting for a hero. These days, women are quite capable of solving their own problems and slaying their own dragons, or demons, as the case may be. In this all-new anthology, Carrie Lee Hughes and New York Times bestselling author Rachel Caine have collected original stories from 13 of today's most exciting urban fantasy and paranormal authors. Each story features a strong heroine who kicks butt and takes names in a dangerous world and makes the world a better place for everyone in it, except the bad guy, of course. And if she finds a bit of romance along the way, well, a little heat warms the heart and sharpens the mind, just as long as the man can keep up." So this is pretty awesome, and y'all should get it. Y'all should get all these books, but this one's really good. And then there's this book called True Irish Ghost Stories. I got it at spring break of this year when I was in Texas at a Books A Million. It might have been Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Borders, any of those stores you could probably get this. And they had this whole display of like paranormal books. And True Irish Ghost Stories, it's basically a collection of different ghost stories, which I'm totally into. And they're all based in Ireland. I mean, you could probably freaking guess that already. Anyway, I'll just read the back to you now. "Suddenly, she felt two hands laid on her shoulders. She turned around sharply and saw it standing close beside her. She described it as being human in shape and about 4 feet high. The eyes were like two black holes in the face, and the whole figure seemed as if it was made of gray cotton wool, while it was accompanied by a most appalling stench, such as would come from a decaying human body." From True Irish Ghost Stories. And also there's some information on the little flap inside the jacket that tells you a little bit more. "Banshees wail, poltergeists wreak havoc, and specters track bloody trails through the halls of historic manor houses in True Irish Ghost Stories, a chronicle of spirit sightings around the Emerald Isle. Originally published in 1916, this classic compilation was the first to call attention to the legacy of lost souls that make Ireland one of the most haunted nations in all the world. Spanning the country from the north to the south and from the south and from the staid city streets of Dublin to the fog-shrouded country lanes of Kilkenny. Among the chilling phenomena, the authors report the headless coach that cruises the byways of County Limerick, portending death for all who see it. The spectral skeleton that climbs spider-like up the wall of an ancestral house in Boyne Valley. The loathsome ape-like monster that frightens visitors of Kilman Castle, the worst haunted mansion in the British Isles. Thrilled to these tales of authenticated supernormal experience, and marvel at ghostly incidents that throw into prominence the extraordinary superstition and beliefs of Ireland and her people." That was a lot of words, and I usually don't read out loud. I read in my head, so sorry if that was hard for you to listen to. And there's this series called, it's by Karen Mary Moaning, and this is the first book, Shadow Fever. Now, I saw this, well actually it was the third book in this series, on a shelf in the library last weekend, 2 weekends ago. And I picked it up and it looked really good, and I was hoping that it was the first book in the series because I looked around on the shelf and there was no more. from that author. It turned out that it was the third book in the series. I realized that kind of as I read along because they were talking about characters as if I should know who they are already. But I still read it anyway, and it was an amazing book. And the book after this is Dark Fever. Then there's Blood Fever, which is the one I read. Then Fae Fever, then Dream Fever. This one is Shadow Fever. And it's a story that centers around like fae and fairy and things like that. There's magic involved. And there's a girl who, for all she knows, she's normal, and then she realizes that she has, that she's actually fae. And she has a twin sister who's like her best friend, and something ends up happening to her. I don't really want to spoil it, but I'll read the back for you. When I came to Dublin, hunting my sister's murderer. Well, there, I guess that just ruins it for you anyway. Her sister gets murdered, by the way. Hunting my sister's murderer, I found monsters around every corner. But of all the things that go bump in the night, I've begun to wonder if I'm the worst. But this is a great book, very well written. I've read the PC Cast books. I've read Anne Rice books. I'm trying to think of her name, the woman who wrote the Vampire Academy books. If you like any of those books, you'll probably like this series. It's very good. And then there's this book. I got this book from a book fair when I was in middle school, and I still have it, and the book's called Poison. And this book has been through hell, so unfortunately the back isn't completely on it anymore. But I'm going to try to see if I could pull anything out for you guys. Okay, well basically there's this girl named Poison, and she lives in, she's a human, but I'm imagining in this book that it's like a Lord of the Rings kind of realm thing where the hobbits, they live in a magical world, but they all live together, so they're kind of ignorant of everything that's happening outside of their hobbit community. That's kind of like what's going on here, except instead of hobbits, they're humans. And she has a baby sister and this evil stepmother, and her father is completely blinded by this evil stepmother who treats Poison like shit. Poison is her name, by the way. And but she adores her baby sister, and one day her baby sister gets kidnapped by fairies, and she has to go on this journey to find her baby sister. It's kind of like it's literally like the Labyrinth meets Lord of the Rings. That's what this is. And it's amazing. And it's got some awesome characters in it. It's got a sexy man character, which always helps. But yeah, this is a really freaking awesome book. Did that look cool? Does that look creepy? And then there's another book. It's actually in my car, but I have the case right here, and it's called The Film Book. It comes in this tin case, and you slide it out, and the book is usually in there, but like I said, it's in my car. A complete guide to the world of cinema. It's got information on actors, genres, video techniques, things like that. And I am a TV production major, so that's pretty awesome. I'm already interested in those things, plus it kind of helps with my schoolwork. But I will go ahead and read the back of this to you guys. It says, The Ultimate Guide to Movies, Directors, and Genres. The 100 Best Films of All Time. The Top 100 Directors in the World. The inside information on every school of filmmaking, from Hollywood to Bollywood. The lowdown on key scenes, plot lines, and iconic images. What to watch recommendations, and movie trivia. And I just got this from, like I said, your generic bookstore. There's also 2 more books that are probably my favorite books. This one you've probably heard of. It's called Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. I love that book. I've reread that book several times. I will probably continue to reread that book in the future. I have the version that has both Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass in it. And Looking Glass is probably my favorite part of the book, the second part. But it's a great book, and I'm pretty sure everybody's read that book at some point, but if you haven't, you need to. And there's another book. I cannot remember who the author is, but this is probably my second favorite book. I'm reading it right now, and it's called Secondhand Spirits. It's about this woman. I think she's about 29 or 30 years old. And she's a witch, and she grew up being a witch, and she lived with her mother and her grandmother, her dad ran away when she was younger, and she was really close with her grandma, but when she was sent off to complete her training, something happened, and she decided to just wander off and try to make her own life somewhere else instead. And she keeps moving from place to place and doesn't really stay put, and doesn't let herself really get close to anybody, but she settles down in California in this like really bohemian artsy town, and she opens a thrift store, and like that ends up being like her calling. It's what she loves to do, and she lives in the same building as the store, and she's starting to make friends. She's really close with the people that work in her store. It's two main girls that work in her store, and just one day this guy shows up, and he's like, hey, I'm the head witch around here. Take this, and gives her a familiar. And what a familiar is, it's basically like a little goblin. It's like a little pet slash like sidekick. And she's just like, okay, what the hell? And like things start happening, like people that she meets end up dying. She tries to save people and her spells aren't working. And I've always been obsessed with witch things. Like when I was little, I would have witch movie marathons. I would throw in my Casper Meets Wendy VHS, my Kiki's Delivery Service VHS. Basically anything that had to do with witches. I was obsessed for the longest time. And I love this book. It's really good. And it's got a little pinch of romance in it. There's so many attractive men in this book. Like, you don't even know. I wish I had the back to read to you, but it's in my car. Maybe some other time if you guys are interested. But yeah, those are some books that I would recommend to you guys if you like reading. And I will talk to you guys later.